Gainers, Ralphie here with some fitter philosophy, helping with your fitness, helping with your philosophy by sharing mine. And as I share mine, I hear about yours in the comments below, and it becomes a virtuous circle. In other words, mutual support, help, and exchange of views, perspective and advice. And one particularly interesting topic is the subject of risk, which I've been covering now in the last 2 to 3 videos, and I want to take us down a different avenue now, because one of the components of risks that we have to address is fear. And fear is an interesting subject, and it's something that experienced people in life, I think, don't take enough time to share with younger folk, to share their experiences of fear. The plus sides of fear, the negative sides of fear. So I'm going to cover that just for a few minutes. First of all, fear's a very useful thing to have. It's part of survival, an intrinsic part of survival. This primitive fight or flight phenomenon. Take the horse, for example, very much a flight animal. They have high fear sensitivities. In other words, there are many horses who are really quite nervous, particularly around strange movements, strange people, strange colours, unfamiliar environments. And then fight. Let me see, a wolf, for example. A wolf can be relatively fearless, and yet they're very much aware of, hang about, I've got some company here. Hello, Toby.
Hello.
I'm recording a video,
Yeah.
on the subject of fear.
Okay.
Right.
What are you afraid of?
I am afraid of snakes. I'm afraid of great heights, because I nearly fell over a cliff and died once.
Oh, wow.
I mean, seriously, it was wet grass, and I was about 6 inches away from going on about 100-foot drop onto rocks.
That's not good.
It wasn't good. It just happened so suddenly, and what I did was I basically threw myself flat down. My feet were hanging over the edge of the cliff.
Whoa.
But I managed to hold on to tufts of grass and just pull myself back up again. Snakes, I've not really encountered too many. I was in Panama once, and snakes were falling out of trees, and literally I could hear them hitting the tarpaulin and rolling off. But what I found was, if you thumped your feet in the ground, because of the vibrations, it frightened them more than they were frightening you. As soon as you were going from a position of being frightened and fearful of something to seeing them frightened, it was a big game changer. Now, since you've popped into my video, and you are a gym buddy and a good guy, an interesting person, what advice would you give the audience on the subject of fear?
Oh, fear? I don't know. You just got to put it aside. Do your best to. You know what I mean? But it depends what it is.
Going from the known towards the unknown.
Yeah.
Address the fears.
Think of it as a challenge.
Yes.
It's good for you.
Yes.
To face your fears.
How far should you go?
Depends.
Right. Depends on what?
I don't know. It depends what the situation is. Give me a situation.
I'll give you a situation.
Go on.
Skydiving.
Yeah.
Righto.
Yeah.
It's a hazardous thing to do, but so is playing rugby, for example.
Yeah.
But with experience, we address the fears. The fears become familiar, they become less so, they diminish, and yet they create the space for greater risk, because there's less fear to hold us back from taking risks which could adversely affect our health or even kill us.
Indeed.
What frightens you?
Being in a calendar.
We're recording a hunks. Let me explain. We're recording a hunks calendar, a traditional, old-fashioned hunks calendar. Now, Toby here is young, fit, and looking fantastic.
Thank you.
I, on the other hand, am a slightly overweight old fart, but I do not have any fear about being in this calendar, but Toby does. Why is this, Gainers?
Because the calendar, my photo will be stuck up on the fridge at my workplace.
Yes.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Rightio. Whereas my photo will do the circuits online amongst the whisky community. And they'll say, what is that shameless old farty doing, making a fool of himself?
But it's for charity.
Well, precisely.
So
Now, this is it, because I think we're in a good position to raise a generous amount of money for a local charity that is heavily connected to the community in which we live in the Isle of Man. It's called Nazim's Brain Tumour Trust, and unfortunately one of the hazards of modern life, with the increase in pollution and other hazards, is that young children are more susceptible to getting cancers at a young age. And I think that any worthwhile group of volunteers like Nazim's Trust, who are gaining experience to help families address their fears, and support makes a big difference. We're supporting them, supporting families, supporting our community. And I think, do you know what? We're a bit frightened, you and I.
So that's why the calendar being stuck on the work fridge, that's less important than supporting.
But bear in mind, while they're laughing at you, they're not in the calendar because they're blobbies. You're not. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Just saying, just sharing. Thank you, Toby.
Okay, yes, good to see you.
And there you have it. A very light-hearted little conversation with my gym buddy Toby on the subject of fear. Fear can be something very light, it can be nominal. A fear of heights, for example, simple solution: stay away from heights. Stay away from cliff edges. But then there's other fears, the fear of ill health. It can be sudden, unexpected, we can be not prepared for it. How do we address that? Simple. Breathe deeply, take it as you find it, and remember, it is the quality of our life in our years more than how many years we can pack into our life. Because there's nothing worse than empty years, unlived years, unexperienced years. Years that can be full of unquantified fears that have no need to be there. But at the same time, we know the real fears, what we should be afraid of, understanding them as well, and getting the balance pitch perfect according to the personality and the type of people we are. It's finding that equilibrium. That's how we manage fear. Learning from the experience of life, because, and I'd conclude by saying this, because fear can be useful. Fear can be a real hazard. But in understanding it, knowing our strengths and our weaknesses, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, that makes a big, big difference. And when we have experience with fear, we also, by default, have experience with joy, satisfaction, and all the other sensations that we experience in life. And there you have it, gainers. A little bit of conversation. This is what I'm doing. I hope you like it. If you like it, leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I will now leave you with a view of a beautiful lighthouse on the north of the Isle of Man, in this beautiful island, on a nice sunny summer's day. Here we go.